Hello guys, here I have the Fenix TK75 latest iteration again, alright? As you know, I've used this hose for almost all the LEDs I can get my hand on, and this to me is almost a perfect light, alright? I love the battery setup, I love the stainless bezel, the external carrier, basically everything about it is just made to mod, almost, okay? It's ideal to mod into any varieties of light. The only thing that I don't really like about it is the beam, all right? Because this light here comes in two varieties. The earlier version has a reflector with three individual reflector wells that overlap each other, and the latest version has four. And because of the overlapping reflector well, you will see petals in the beam. There's some petal effects in the spill beam, and that to me is a little annoying, okay? So, in order to get rid of that, you would have to either build the light into a meal, which is a light without any reflector, and that makes a really nice beam because there's no beam at all. It's just a flat wall of light. And that makes for great general purpose use, okay? And I made a limited runs of those, and they're great. They flood really well, just a flat wall of light, like your household's lighting. Or you will get the one with the regular reflector, and you have nice throw. For some reason, the hotspot overlaps each other and makes a perfect hotspot that you would never know that it came from multiple reflector overlapping each other. But the spill beam width is what bugs me. So I'm out to seek what can I do to build a light that floods a flat wall of light, yet still throw a hotspot, okay? And as a matter of fact, I don't really like light in the spill beam, okay? I like all my light, as much light as possible in the hotspot, because really, I'm kind of a thrower guy, and wherever I'm shining, I only look at the hotspot. I don't really care what's in the spill beam. And so in this light, I seek to do just that, okay? So I call this the Fenix TK75 Ideal. And it's ideal because it has four XHP 70, 5000 Kelvin, so it's a very nice tint set right in the middle of the light, all right? There are no reflectors, no optics or anything, so obviously you have a meal effect here where you have a flat wall of light. So for general purpose use, it's perfect. You don't have any hot spots to strain your eyes, and surrounding the 4 XHP 70 meal, you have 6 quads. Each quads have 4 XPL HI V3 bins 6500 Kelvin, all right? And amazingly, these 6 quads blends into a perfectly round hotspot. So what you get is a really nice, big, huge hotspot that throws out very well. Very nice tint. There are no spill at all. So I only look at when I pick up a throw light, all I care about is the hotspot. And all of the lumen here is put into the hotspot. They're not wasted, okay, in the spill. And if I'm up close working or just walking my dog or just camping, or I can alternatively mount it onto a tripod and use it as a work light, okay? I would use the 4 XHP 70. And there I have a really nice work light because of the flat wall of light. So it kind of fit the niche of a thrower and the ultimate floodlight, right? On top of that, because I'm able to sit all of the lights, because it's an optics, it's very shallow. So therefore, I can reserve the entire space of the head for heat sinking. So basically I have a huge chunk of custom-made aluminum that that all of the LEDs sit on, and then it's mounted and screwed down into the body of the light. So the light heat sinks extremely well. It's a little hefty, not too much because aluminum doesn't weigh all that much, but it's a little bit more hefty than a regular TK75 with a hollow head and a plastic reflector, obviously. So now you have great throw, great flood, great heat sinking, and on top of that, I powered this light with 2 driver VNX2, all right? One of them powers the meal individually, and then the other powers the outer thrower quads individually. I could run both at the same time if I want, but really, running both at the same time doesn't really make sense because when you turn on the throw part, you kind of only look at the hot spot. The mule doesn't add that much throw, and now you just have a spill beam that is not really useful in my opinion. Okay, so you either use the flood or the throw. If you turn both on, basically you have a conventional beam with a hot spot and a lot of a really bright spill beam width. Okay. All right, let's go through the numbers real quick. The 4XHP70s in the center here makes 12,000 lumen with the 5,000 Kelvin XHP70. So 12,000 lumen is very, very good. That's how much lumen that's put out in the one of the older iterations, the TK75vn Q70, where it has 4XHP70 diffused dome with reflectors. Here you only have 4x. You have the same 4XHP70, but as a meal. So it's making about the same amount of output, 12,000 lumen, and that's very, very good for a flat wall of light. Okay. Let me show you what that's like. So here you have the 4 LEDs, and there you see there's no hotspot, just a flat wall of light. And obviously it has Drive Fenix 2, so it's fully programmable with all the different levels. Okay, and here's like almost not quite moonlight, but very, very low. It's kind of like, I call it a low. All right, but not quite moonlight. All right, and then on the outer LEDs, I have it set on. I have it run off a separate Drive Fenix2, user programmable again, on a separate switch. So here, the switch on the right powers the LED. You probably can't see this on camera, but the outer LEDs, the throw LEDs are lit while the meal is not. And that too, well, obviously I'm going to do an outdoor beam shot video so that you can see the beam outdoor. It's much easier to show, all right? But here you can see the hot spot. I'm not sure if you can see it, but basically all the output is put into a hot spot. So hear me out here. The 6 quads here puts out 14,000 lumen. So you're like, 14,000 lumen is not that much, right? Because you have a lot of freaking LEDs, all right? 6 times 4 is 24 LEDs. So only 14,000 lumen doesn't sound like a lot, but hear me out. You have a hotspot. Most light that measure 14,000 lumen, you're not really looking at 14,000 lumen. If it's a thrower light, for example, the TK75vn Q70 puts out, with the XHP70 and the reflector, the plastic reflector, puts out 12,000 lumen. But it's a thrower. What you do is you look, when you're shining it around, you look at the hotspot. So what you don't really care about the lumen in the peripheral version in the spill beam if you're actually trying to spot something. So although it's a 12,000 lumen light, you're not really looking at 12,000 lumen. You're not using 12,000 lumen to light up exactly what you're shining at. This light's different. It puts out 14,000 lumen, but all of that lumen is in one large hotspot. There's nothing in the spill, right? So all of that lumen is in one large hotspot. So whatever you're shining at, the whole entire thing is lit. It's a very big hotspot, but I would call it a hotspot because there's no spill. So all of the lumen is in one hotspot. So you're lighting a very large area all lit up. So you get all of the lumen towards where you're looking at. And I think that's what makes this light the ideal light. That's why I call it the TK75vn ideal, where you have the ideal flat wall of light, no hot spot to strain your eyes, and the ideal throw with all of the output in one spot and nothing in the spill. All right. And if you really want your peripheral version lit up with the meal, you can just turn both on, and you basically have a conventional beam with spill beam width and the outer LEDs for throw. So my meters cannot really handle both on at the same time. So I don't really know what's the output with both turned on at the same time. All I know is when I power just the outer LEDs, I get 14,000 lumen, and the inner LEDs, the meal, the floods, I get 12,000 lumen. The floods doesn't really throw, as you know, as a wall of light, so it only puts out 7K lux. That equates to 167 meters of throw. Yes, 7K lux is not a lot, but it's not bad. If I turn it on, I'll show you in the video later, but it'll light up all the trees in the backyard, which is 150 feet away, really well lit. So even though it's a meal, it'll still throw, okay? And the throw LEDs on the XPLHI V3 bins on the outside throws 120k lux, and now that makes it a legitimate thrower. 120k lux equates to 693 meters of throw. All right, and I consider that a thrower. Right, a thrower and a flutter, the ideal thrower actually, and the ideal flutter all in one. Perfect, gorgeous beam, just a perfect light. And here's something else that I really like about this light. This light runs on 4 18650. When you buy this light from me, I would include Sony VTC5 2600 milliamp hours. The reason I'm including these cells is because they're extremely high drain, and they're suitable for this light because this light is obviously ultra high drain. So, and this is basically the highest drain cells on the market that I have tested, and they work very well with this light. With this light, you will need unprotected cells, all right? And these are the best. So, if you buy one of this light and you decided you want more runtime and you wanted to add an extension kit, you can. You just have to buy the carrier from me because I mod the carrier, all right? And then now you can run 2 battery carrier back to back. You can run as many as you want, all right? I have it configured so that you can run as many as you want and it will not hurt the LEDs, all right? You can't have too much current. Well, let's just say that you're safe up until 3 carriers. Any longer than that, they're kind of ridiculous and too long to use anyway. But I have tested up to 3 different carriers and the light works flawlessly. And as a matter of fact, the output that I'm giving you is off of 1 carrier. With 2 carrier, you get a little bit more performance. And obviously longer runtime. So there you go. You have kind of a larger light now, kind of big and heavy now. But if you really wanted that extra runtime, you can. If it's me, I would just... the reason that I brought up this extension kit is because 2600 milliamp hour batteries are not very high capacity. And therefore, you might want to run an extra carrier. But for me, it's plenty of time. I don't really use turbo all the time. I use turbo in short bursts, so the light lasts a really long time. Okay? The best part about this light is going to be the outdoor video beam shot, honestly. Alright, so there's another variation of this light. Did I mention this light is $1,300? It's $1,300. Yes, it's $1,300. Yes, it's expensive. There's no way around it. Alright? That's that. Here, I have the TK61. I'm missing the tail cap, so I'm sorry about that. I don't know where I put the tail cap. So, just imagine this light a tiny bit taller. Alright? So, you can see here the TK61 is quite a bit taller than the TK75. It's actually even a little bit taller with the tail cap on. And you can see here the head is clearly bigger than the TK75. I have a version of this light, the TK61 Ideal version, where you have the exact setup, 4 HP70s in the middle, but instead of 6 quads, you get 7 quad. And when I did the output, the Neo obviously puts out the same output, 12,000 lumens, 7K lux, in the TK61 variation. However, with the extra quads, for some reason, I got an extra 2,000 lumens. So with 7 quads, I got an extra 2,000 lumens. So it went from 14,000 lumen to 16,000 lumen. Here's the odd part that I don't really understand. Both of them with the 6 quads and the 7 quad in the TK61vn Ideal and the 6 quad in the TK75vn Ideal both throws 120k lux. Don't ask me why. I don't know. Maybe because the way that it's spaced out further, it doesn't focus as well as all the LED, although more output. So there's really not any advantage to getting the TK61 besides the fact that you get a little bit more output, perhaps a little bit larger hotspot, but you get the same throw. But you have a much bigger light. So having a much bigger light obviously will come with a bigger heatsink. It will heatsink better, but then you're kind of lugging a lot more around for not that much more performance. And it costs more money. It costs $1,400, so $100 more. As of right now, making this video. So by the time you watch this video, the TK61vn Ideal is possibly sold out. I can't source anymore. Fenix have discontinued this host, unfortunately. So I'm only able to buy this light from a few vendors left. Okay, and as always, I don't get any discount with Fenix. I buy them close to very, very close to the retail. So if you you cannot buy the TK61 off of skylumen.com. If you really, really want a TK61vn Ideal, then you, for $1,400, you will have to email me, and then we'll work on sourcing another host. All right, it's gonna be a little tricky to get another host and sell it for the $1,400, because the $1,400 was accounted for the price of the host that I originally paid for. If we have to buy it retail, it's gonna be $20, $25 more than what I paid for before. It's not that big of a deal. If you're gonna pay $1,400, what's another $25? However, I can still source the TK75 host, and I'm not saying this because I can source the host. I genuinely like the TK75 light more because, as you can see here, it's quite a bit smaller, and this is even smaller if there's a tail cap on here, and it's just a nice host. Okay, I like the TK75 a lot, and aside from the price, $1,300 is a ridiculous amount of money. But if you can afford it, you get a really nice light that floods and throws and put all the lumen in a hotspot, and with very good user interface, separate from both circuit. So what that means is, if you, let's just say for some weird reason, the floodlight die on you, you still have the throw. If the throw dies on you, you still have the flood. So basically, you're carrying with you two separate light with two separate circuit, powering two separate light. Really, they just sit on a similar heatsink. It's a good light. If the price was cheaper, I would seriously consider putting the letter R next to the title of this light for recommended. But for the price, it's just ridiculously expensive, and it's not very practical for the general public. So it's hard for me to recommend this light. Honestly, I would never recommend this light to anybody. If you really can afford it, you'll love it. The performance is absolutely stunning, but the price really makes it greatly prohibited. All right, that is that. Price aside, it is possibly the best iteration so far of the TK75vn. All right, thank you. And we'll go outside now and do beam shots. Much more exciting than hearing me talk.